bridge! We did it! The tower's back where it belongs.
Now Tyr's travel room can take us to Jotunheim.
How did Tyr do this?
Odin suspected the giant secretly possessed some remnant of primordial Jotnar creative essence, the stuff all realms were made of. The Unity Stone must have been fashioned from that essence. To trust an outsider with it, even Tyr, tells you just how desperate they were.
And look! Now we can finally light all the braziers and see what happens. Another name. Groindel.
It's the name of one of the Valkyries. That's quite curious.
Mimir, you never told us what Magni and Modi had to do with Hrungnir.
Oh yes. Well, what happened after Hrungnir fell slain upon Thor was that nobody in the court could get the stone body off of him. Thor was no use at this point, his brain rattled, his breath shallow. But none of Odin's men were nearly strong enough to help. You know what? I'll tell this one later.
All set! Almost there!
You family.
What's up with my brother?
You good?
So what happened after Magni and Modi got rung your off door?
You know what? I'll tell this one later.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Another name.
Another Valkyrie. That's no coincidence. But who'd have etched them on Tyr's braziers?
Nika, have you been to sleep?
Yeah. Kinda. Not really. How you gonna hit the store? It's too hot. What you gonna do? What you do today?
Shy,
So what
nothing,
happened after
nothing
Magni
at
and
all.
Modi got rung your off door?
Magni, being blonder, got all the credit. And Modi remained bitter about it from that day to the end. Which I don't need to tell you about.
Bro, like, what?
Sorry, not ready. I'm ready.
Do it.
Another name. Air.
It's as if they'd been made into a memorial to the Valkyries.
I lit 4 bracers. So that means looking at us. I'm finna I got like come on. What the Valkyries are those? I don't got time to be going all this shit, man.
Oh man, the tower ate the Unity Stone, didn't it? I wanted to fly again.
Yes, that's a terrible pity.
Here's something I can't figure out. Odin wants to prevent Ragnarok, but the serpent's already been there and seen it. So hasn't he already been?
Fate's a tricky thing, lad. And Odin's just arrogant enough to think he can get the best of it.
Fate is another lie told by the gods. Nothing is written that cannot be unwritten.
On that, brother, you and the All-Father may just agree. Even if he can't prevent Ragnarok, he still hopes to learn enough details to influence the outcome. Remind me later to tell you about the wolves.
What nigga look wolves? This thing come up blue and new shit.
Another name. Ulrich.
Someone who loved the Valkyries enough to do this? I wonder. Perhaps the Queen?
That dragon, that's Baldur's, isn't it?
Yes.
And you brought it down to save me?
It was very heroic.
Amir, why did you work for Odin if he's so horrible?
It's my career! And if you mean to make your career as a counsellor to kings, you can't very well rule out petty maniacs. Available positions are scarce enough. Or I can just tell you the story later. Where were we then? Oh yes, my first job. My first master was a cruel piece of work as well, but I learned through him the enduring power of wit, which served me well with kings and gods alike. You know what? I'll tell this one later.
Another name. Hildur!
The arcane runes. They must have been cluing us to look for Valkyries imprisoned in Muspelheim and Niflheim. Where were we then? Oh yes, my first job. I couldn't have been much older than you when I started. A fairy king's errand boy and unofficial jester. One night, my mates and I had the run of the forest. Good fellows they called us. Knavish spite to the last. We'd get up to all manner of mischief, making fools of the local mortals. But as long as our lord was kept amused, we were spared the consequences. Or I can just tell you this story later. Let's see, my first job. Right. Me and my mates had the run of the forest, as long as we kept the fairy king amused. Oh. Then one day he was not amused, and I saw fit to move on. Thankfully, the ages and roads travelled since then have turned me from that merry wanderer into the paragon of virtue you see before you today.
to next?
Ready and ready. Well, scrounge around a bit. More and we'll build something then.
Focus up, boy.
I almost wish they were harder. Is that weird?
Atreus, follow me.
Be right there.
You family. You good? Nika, have you been to sleep? Shy, nothing at all.
Now where should we go? Mimir, why do you have Bifrost crystals in your eyes?
A loving gift from the giants. Since I used to do so much traveling between realms, they thought it would be more convenient for me than having a crystal I could lose.
Did it hurt?
No, because I wisely fortified myself with 16 cups of Billow Maiden's ale. Got so inebriated I tried convincing the giants to put them in my nipples instead. Almost talked them into it too. Can you imagine? Mimir of the Bifrost teats. Ah, those were the days.
Ew.
Okay, I'll stop now.
This is it, right? The rock stool?
Aye, lad. The Council of Valkyries.
The Valkyries are of Valhalla, are they not?
Glad to see you're paying attention, brother. You are correct. Valhalla, the great hall of the Einherjar, is their home within Asgard. But while there, they are subject to the scrutiny of the All-Father himself. And relations between the Valkyries and Odin were tense during my tenure as his advisor.
Why?
Well, that's an even longer story, lad. For now, why don't we look around for some clues?
Whoa, you're back. Hello?
I don't think she can hear you, lad. The Helms must only retain but a small portion of their owner. I'd wager the rest is in transit to Valhalla to try and fix the mess left by their absence.
Man, who is she?
Gunnar, Mistress of War. After any conflict, big or small, she would be first on the scene, sussing out the worthy spirits for a free trip to Valhalla. A gruesome task, but she took great pride in it.
Any conflict. Impossible.
It's true. She had help from her sisters, of course, but Gunnar was always first to arrive. Her judgment of the fallen was unparalleled, and an invaluable resource to Odin. She was one of his favourites. Ah, Gondul. Beautiful Gondul.
You family.
And?
You good?
That's it?
Nika, have you been to sleep? Shy,
No story or
nothing
anything?
at all.
Oh, sorry, lad. The sight of Gondul always took my breath away. Gondul had a silver tongue, a sharp wit, and struck a figure so stunning it literally drove men insane. Odin forbid her from setting foot in Midgard after a time, as insanity is not a welcome trait in Valhalla. This is none other than Geirdriful, the Master of Arms in Valhalla, responsible for arming and training Odin's Einherjar.
His what?
His army come Ragnarok. The entire reason Valhalla exists, you see. The Einherjar wait in the Great Hall endlessly, feasting, drinking, and fornicating themselves silly. Once Ragnarok begins, Odin calls them into service to fight on his behalf. Geirdriful had her hands full training that lot. This, my friends, is Kara. Now, Valkyries are volatile by nature, but Kara, the lass is wild storm personified.
A wild storm.
Aye, calm and collected. Then the air would shift and the fury of her storm would unleash. It was beautiful in a way, assuming you could find proper shelter. Her tears would cleanse the blood-soaked battlefields. Ah, and here we have Eir, the healer.
A Valkyrie healer? Strange.
Eir was strange, as a matter of fact. Very quiet, very calm. Where her sisters were violent rapids, Eir was a gentle stream. She healed the wounds of both mortals and gods, and even a certain all-knowing sage who once drank too much and fell off a mountain. Not my proudest moment. Well, Hilda, Mistress of Battle. She and Odin got on quite well, actually. Her and the other Valkyries, not so much. She would spend most of her time here in Midgard observing discord between the living, and sewing some up herself from time to time. She lived for conflict. Some say she was conflict personified. I wonder what will become of her now that she's free.